Welcome back, folks. It's another episode of It's About Payroll. Not It's All About Payroll. It's About Payroll is the name.
Yes.
What's up, Walt?
Well, good. Thank you for clarifying that because we have had a lot of people say
Right?
it's all about
You're hearing it
payroll.
now, right?
Yes,
Yes,
it's
I'm
all about
sure.
payroll. It's
Yes.
like,
And it's
no,
like, there's no
it's about
all.
payroll.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not. Look, your state factually is
It is
correct.
fact.
It is
Correct.
all about payroll.
Yes.
The podcast is
Gotta
about
add it to
payroll.
our SEO, though, because I'm sure people are like,
Yeah.
it's all about payroll podcast. Like, what?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Either way, you could call us whatever you like. Just call us. Come on in. Come inside.
Yep.
What do we got? But before we get into it, you got any payroll news, nuggets, anything to share?
It's more so about like the financial fitness side of things.
Oh, okay.
And I
Dang.
wanted
I
to like.
deleted it. My bad. I didn't know.
No, you're good. You guys just wanted to pitch a scenario or
Okay.
share a thought, and maybe yourself and the listeners could, chime in on it in the comments. So one way to help ensure that you save money by avoiding penalties when it comes to taxes and those different things is making sure that there is a payroll reserve, right? So there's enough in like enough in the bank. So just in case something happens, something out of the blue,
Unexpected.
something
Unexpected.
you get a tax notice from
I
from
like
back in the
that.
day, and you owe something, and it's a large amount. You have enough to cover those things, right? There's a natural disaster that happens, and the company wants to pay out certain payrolls, and or something happens with the banks, your normal bank, and you can have this reserve, so you can be able to pay your folks without uninterrupted, right? So just something like that, when it comes to mind, like that would potentially help you save against like, and I guess in the tax scenario, that will help you save potential money in that way. So it's just a thought process. It's a thought I had. So I just wanted to pitch that.
That's a good one. No, I think it's good. I think it's like, because you said, I was going to ask what percentage of what, like, what's the number? But then you said enough to cover your folks in a disaster. So that might mean a whole payroll amount, or at least close to it. Or if it's some type of a disaster, it might be like, okay, we'll save 50% of, and so we'll be able to give people something, because that's better than nothing. But that I think that's a great idea, man. I wrote it down for sure, because I don't think businesses think about that at all. I just did a Pete Tiliakis survey for payroll, and it's just and if you don't know, please look out for Pete Tiliakis. There's a survey out there that he's conducting through the end of September, I believe. And it's for payroll professionals to give feedback on the industry and their experiences at their companies. And it's really helpful. You can read last year's published data, and you could also be a part of this year's data that he'll publish later in the year or the beginning of next year. And it just, still so many companies just don't value the department, the function, and there's so much opportunity for financial fitness, value add, savings from the payroll professionals. Yeah.
And bro, I think it would be smart. You like, companies can just add it to their budget, right? Hey, this is a part of our budget. We're gonna have this reserve, and it's still there. It's not like the money's just spent, but we have this just in case something does happen. So I just, just really quick before I pass the baton to you.
Of course.
I asked ChatGPT what it would suggest, the reserve to be, and it said I suggest a target reserve of 300% of the average monthly payroll. So, in other words, enough to cover 3 months of wages, taxes, and benefits.
That's a lot.
It said a practical minimum is like at least 1 month.
Okay.
Practical minimum. So
and look, if you have really savvy financial folks, it can be in an investment tool.
Yeah.
Right. Some type of, it can be invested and be making money for the business in some way, but it's earmarked for a payroll emergency, so that, if something happens, they can like maybe borrow against it, so that they can do something, like have something set up, have a strategy, something method in play. I love that idea, man. That's great. I have real quick call out Social Security. I recently logged back into my Social Security account just, for laughs and giggles. And, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's a decent amount of money that for now, I guess, but in 20, 30 years, who knows? But you can see what your retirement benefit is going to be. If you haven't done it, do it. If you haven't educated your employees, your customers, do that also. Let them know. I think that's a really good education piece for them. And then a real quick, payroll from the news. There's a company out there called AbsenceSoft. This article caught my eye because it's been a pain point throughout my career. And AbsenceSoft does leave or I'm sorry, yeah, they're a medical leave, employee leave is what I want to say. And
Okay.
they handle that for clients, right? So they introduced a payroll calculation module designed to connect employee leave administration with payroll processing. The tool addresses a common challenge. One employee's leave may involve 3, 4, or even 5 overlapping policies, each
hmm
with different payment percentages, salary caps, eligibility period, the coordination rules. The module reportedly uses employee pay history and applicable policies to calculate the gross leave pay. It coordinates company paid programs, short term disability, and state wage replacement benefits. It accounts for state benefit offsets. It recalculates pay when leave dates, eligibility, base wage, or payment order change. It produces pay period leave breakdowns for export to payroll, and it maintains a complete audit trail of changes and calculations. That sounds amazing because those are all the challenges in addition to the actual paperwork that has to be managed. AbsenceSoft reports that one customer with approximately 1,900 covered employees reduced biweekly leave processing from 16 hours to 2 hours, an 87% reduction. The company also cites that research indicating that 40% of employees would consider leaving their employer following a poor leave experience. This highlights how incorrect or delayed payments can affect more than payroll compliance. They can also damage employee trust and retention, as we talk about all the time.
Yep.
Um, the larger takeaway is that payroll and leave administration remain disconnected in many organizations. Reliance on manual processes and it increases the risk of underpayments, overpayments, delays, difficult reconciliations. Following a customer beta, the module is scheduled to become generally available on August 18th of 26. So next week, the week that
hmm
this episode will post. And as a separate AbsenceSoft add-on, early adopters include organizational and financial services, healthcare, and retail, along with third-party leave administrators. Because the performance statistics comes from AbsenceSoft, employers should independently evaluate the tools, integrations, calculations, controls, and state law coverage. Yeah. And so I think it was
Nice, man.
it's a really great, it just caught my eye, a bunch of articles. I always try to find something interesting. And I think payroll gets caught up in this manual process so much, even though it's like a benefit, for HR thing. You see how much payroll talk I said in that thing, and that's why we get pulled into it. So I think it was worth, payroll professionals knowing about this so they can make suggestions to their teams and counterparts
Yeah.
and stuff. So tell us what we getting into today. I think is another fun episode. I say that
Yeah,
loosely.
it's a true true
True
crime,
payroll crime.
true payroll crime episode. Just finding out that, man, these things unfortunately continue to happen. In our industry, and I'm sure they're happening in other industries as well. But since we're in the payroll industry, we're gonna keep it niche and go from there. Yeah. So just a little bit about it, man. Like, so look, a local payroll manager stole $1.26 million from her employer. But the interesting thing about this story is that it wasn't for luxury cars or mansions. It was entirely to fund a massive gambling and pull tab addiction. So
Pull
those,
tab, like the machines you pull?
yes,
Okay.
the little,
Slot machines, right?
yeah, the little slot machines. So like, yeah, so who was the person? It was Bridget Marshall, and she had a role as a trusted payroll and HR manager. So That's what happened. It was located in Minnesota. And so it was for a Minnesota-based truck sales. They sold parts and service company for trucks, and she worked there for years. So look, this was a slow bleed, right? It lasted over 8
That's
years.
crazy.
And so that is like that's one of the longest periods we've seen one of these things occur, right? And maybe, which is why it lasted so long, it's because if you spread that out over 8 years, I know 1.26 million sounds like a lot. 1.3 million
8
sounds like a
years,
lot.
not a lot.
But if you
Yeah.
divide over 8 years, it's really not that much. So, especially if it gets explained away. So look, it ran from 2017 to May of 2025. What did she do? She created fake excess wage garnishments in the company's payroll system. She redirected those deductions straight into her personal bank accounts. She structured the amounts to look like legitimate automated employee deductions to slip past system alerts. She manipulated the books. She fabricated several general ledgers and altered records to bury the illegal transfers inside legitimate corporate payments. And so, what's the charge? She's being charged with wire fraud due to a specific January 2024 transaction, where I think she tried to cash a check for over 17 grand from the company. It was deposited. Well, she did cash it. It deposited right into her account. So, look, man, this is unique for us because I think this is the first time that we've seen someone be implicated, not just because they were trying to get rich, but because there was a gambling addiction tied to it.
Yeah.
So, I find that interesting because, it speaks to the point, like, has she done this in other stops? Um, you know, and I
Got
guess,
away with it.
like, what do you do? Because I don't know how old this person was or is or anything like that, but it's just like, when do you think that she should? So look, it says that she could face up to 20 years of federal prison, a mill and fines, and mandatory restitution of the stolen money, which is 1.26 million. Um, I think that also as a part of this, she should be mandated to get some type of help, therapy, right?
If gambling,
Because
yeah, absolutely.
yes, you
It's
know
an
what I'm saying,
addiction like
like,
any other.
because I think, and I don't want to get political on the show, but like, I think that, from that standpoint, from a judicial standpoint, we have to make sure that we get when these people make these choices in these situations, we have to make sure that they get the help that they need and point them in the right direction instead of like, like just throwing them in the system and saying, oh, bad, and just look, you got to face the consequences for your actions, of course. But I think, in order for you to be an upstanding citizen, hopefully, you will learn from this. But some people, they just never learn to deal with that addiction. And even though she may be going to prison, there still may be a problem for her, even after this has occurred, right? Because, usually what from a jail standpoint, usually the prison is filled with repeat offenders.
Absolutely.
Right. So what are your
Absolutely.
thoughts on it, man?
So I did the math. If we're biweekly is the most common pay period, we don't know the pay period, right? I mean, like the
No, we
frequency,
don't.
no
We don't.
problem. So if you take 26 times 8, it gives you 208 pay checks. 1.3 million divided by that 208, assuming that she did it only like with payroll, is still $6,250. That's a good amount of money
A month
per
or
per paycheck,
per check.
per
Yeah.
page, per check date, assuming she did it with payroll, right?
Yeah.
If it's biweekly, which is the most common frequency in the country, there would be 208 check dates in that 8 years, right? You said 8 years, right?
Yeah.
$6,250. That is something that, well, she was the payroll person, but that is something that would pop out in any decent discrepancy report, even if it was manually done, you know, I don't, again, we always come down to the same two things is lack of oversight and greed, right? They're able to do it because they have the lack of oversight and they continue to do it because they get greedy. And, but that's a good amount of money that should have been caught. Business owners
Well,
should really demand to, have a requirement to see a discrepancy report by employee, as
yeah,
depending on the amount of employees, of course. But you know, it's
yeah.
yeah,
It said that she was cooking the books, right? So you absolutely hit the nail on the head there when you said that there was lack of oversight, right? You trust but verify. You want to trust your payroll folks, but you still need to verify that they're doing the right thing by the company and they're just not paying themselves. Like I know somebody, a former colleague that I worked with for a little period of time at one of my stops. They got in trouble because they didn't think anything of this, but they were paying themselves early. So they weren't necessarily stealing, but like you say, we get paid bi-weekly. It was just like, oh, I'm the payroll manager. I don't want to wait until this is before on-demand pay, right? This is before earned wage access and all that stuff, right? So, our check date is next Friday. Oh man, I want to, I'm going on vacation this weekend though. I'm going to go ahead and pay myself early or pay myself part of my check, or whatever. He's like, well, I don't think it's a problem, because, it's my money, or whatever. So, and I technically I already worked for that 1 week of the pay period. So I'll just deduct it from myself, on the next payroll.
big was this company? Like, well, the finance
It
didn't
was
say anything on the cash
that's
leaving the account.
that's how he ended up getting in trouble. He got let go for that
Yeah,
because they were like, technically, you're not stealing. Technically, it is your money, but you didn't get authorization to do that.
you, no
Whatever.
way, no
You
way.
know what I'm saying? So like, so he tried to say like I've been deducting the money. Look at the records. I've been deducting it from my check, and he
That's
was, but
fine, and that's fine, but it's not the point. It's the principle of it. Like, had
yeah.
somebody given you permission to do this, and it was
Hmm.
documented, and it was, somebody could double check your work because you asked permission to do it, and they get the look. That's a different story. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's almost like parents, and your kids. Like, I'll give you a great example. When I was younger, clone phones were a big thing,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right? And I was probably about
Uh-huh.
16 and popped up with a clone phone, and I was, chilling, and my brothers were like, yo, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's a phone. And they're like, oh, you got a cell phone, from like, at the time, Radio Shack did cell phone plans and stuff like that. And that was like the closest place. And they were like, is it Radio Shack or, the page of whatever? And I was like, nah, this is, it's clone, da da da. And they were like, you bugging? And I was like, yo, it's my money. I pay the bill. And they were like, let me tell you something. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's okay to do it.
Boom. Yep.
Right. And that was a lesson learned from my brothers. My brothers are older. And I was like, okay. And that's how I learned that lesson. You know what I mean? Like, if I just, you're 16, you're smelling yourself and you feel, you got a job and right. And you feel like,
Yeah,
oh, I
yeah,
could just
yeah.
do whatever. And nope, that is not the case. So
Yep.
that's one of those things is like, just because he can do that doesn't mean he's allowed.
You don't want to make it seem like you're taking advantage, right? And people, companies, they don't want to feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And because even in personal relationships, once you break that trust, like it's hard to come back from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Look, I've also seen companies look the other way, right? And I know this one stop I was at, there was a manager at one of the locations who was creating ghost employees to pay herself to pay herself, like, and it was small increments, like, 5, 10, 15, $20 here, and she would punch in the hours and into the time clock for them and stuff like that. And then they had one of the state reps come through and did an audit, like, okay, this says this person is here, where they at? You know,
Somebody
or
gonna
whatever.
call you after the show like, hey, Walt, can you tell me where you worked at again all these years?
Nah.
No,
But
I'm just
look,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
but look. So in that situation, she was caught. She was confronted. And then when she admitted to it and explained why, the owner of the company was like, okay, you know what? I understand. I get it. I've made
Wow.
mistakes too, and
That's
gave her another chance. Like, not everybody's gonna
very
do that.
generous. Heck no. That is very generous. And luckily to that person. Oh my gosh.
Do you
That's
know how
crazy.
lucky that is? Because
That's
your
jail
career
time. Yeah.
would have
Your,
been
your
jail, life,
reputation. Yep.
everything, right?
Yep.
So look, man, yeah, it's crazy. So look, like, you know, this happened over 7 years. She changed like GLs and all those different things. You know, she yeah, I think we explained it pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. No, we broke it down for whatever we know, right? Like, because with these cases, we don't always know everything we want to know as payroll people.
Yeah, and look, this is gonna be, you know, a part of the outro, but I think it's a good place here before we get to like our this or that segment.
Mhm.
I want to encourage you, if you're struggling with, you know, thoughts, or you're considering doing something like this, don't. If you have a gambling addiction,
or any addiction,
any addiction, like, reach out to someone. There's local numbers you can call, free service numbers you can call, 1-800 numbers you can call
absolutely.
to get the help that you need, or someone that you work
Your
with.
EAP, if you have insurance, your EAP might be free even if you're not participating in the health insurance.
And look, if you're working with someone and you know what the signs are, you know, when it comes to addiction, and they may be being exhibited by someone you work with, reach out, you know, talk to them and see if they can get help before they make a decision that can ruin their lives as well. Because we remember that story, that's true crime story, the true payroll crime story that we did, where the owner, who was the one who was doing it, and it ended up impacting like everyone, because he had a payroll processing company.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
impacted thousands of workers and people's livelihood. They just didn't get paid at all. So you want to be mindful of those things before, you know, before you make a decision like this, because you're not just messing with your life, you're potentially messing with the lives of others. And that's something that we're deemed to be responsible for. So
Yeah.
just a little food for thought.
No
All right,
doubt.
man. I know this is a short and sweet one, but let's get into this for that. The barbecue summertime edition.
No doubt. You want to do the
Yeah.
first three? I'll do the last three.
Yep. All right. So briskets are some nice baby back ribs.
Look, if there's a barbecue, it's both. Easy. What about you?
Man, I'll take a brisket all day.
Over the rib? You won't take no ribs? Also, you like
A brisket, bro.
brisket?
Nice,
Okay.
a perfectly done brisket is like
Yeah.
the bomb to me. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so this is gonna tell the folks a lot about us, Brian.
Mhm.
Charcoal or gas?
Charcoal.
Charcoal.
I'm a
yeah.
truist. I'm a purist. Yeah. What about you?
Charcoal.
Yeah, right?
I like the flavor it gives. Like, gas doesn't do the same, man.
Yeah.
You know, it gets the job done, but it's not the same. All right, so barbecue sauce,
Mhm.
sweet barbecue sauce or tangy vinegar based sauce?
That's a good one. This is a good question because I don't think folks realize how many, if you're into it, how like different the palate, like how on like spectrum the barbecue sauce can be. There's a white barbecue sauce out of Texas, right? That was like, what in the world? But when you watch the shows and you get all foodie on it, I mean, it can't be too sweet for me. Put it that way.
Okay.
I think I have a good range. Like, I like a lot of different ones. It can't be too sweet. It can't be too hot.
Too spicy.
Or too spicy or too tangy. It's got to be just right. I don't mind. Like, I usually buy sweet and spicy, with Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yes. Okay.
I usually get the sweet and spicy one, and then I'll get a regular one. You know, the Publix is good for a BOGO, right? A buy one, get one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll get the sweet and the spicy and a regular one because on the occasion that my wife eats some barbecue sauce, she's like just a normal one. What about you?
I'm kind of the same. I like a little kick with my sauce. I don't really like the vinegar based or the mustard based sauces.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I like sweet, spicy,
Is
like
there
kind
a
of the same
brand that
thing
you
like
buy
you.
normally?
Sweet Baby Ray's, or I'll just make my own.
See, I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All
Make my
right.
own.
Mac and cheese or potato salad?
Ooh. See, like for a barbecue. See, if it was like every other day, I'll go mac and cheese easy.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like a good potato salad on a hot like summer
Yes.
day when you're
Agreed.
grilling, bro,
Agreed.
it can
Cold.
hit. It hits different. Yeah, bro, it
Yes.
hits different, man.
But no apples, please. No raisins, no apples, no crazy shit in your potato salad. You ain't invited to the barbecue.
What about carrots? Some people put carrots in theirs.
So yes, but so Dominicans do that, and it tastes great, but it has to be cooked carrots, not hard as raw carrots. It has to be
Okay.
it has to be soft, like the potato
Okay.
when I bite it.
Okay.
I don't want
Okay.
I don't want crunch in my potato salad. Put it that way.
I don't want coleslaw in my potato
Yeah.
salad. Okay, I got you. No, so for me, yeah, it's definitely potato salad, bro. For like a barbecue, yeah, if it's
Agreed.
good.
I think I ate myself out of mac and cheese. My mom makes a great mac and cheese, but I've been eating it all my life. So now it's my kids' turn. They love it, right? My son makes a great mac and cheese that he learned the recipe from my mom. I'm just over it. Like I'll like if my mom made it, like not to be rude, I'll take a little, scoop. I'll take it, but oh yeah, I ate it. It's great. But I'm over it. All right, dry rub only or slathered in sauce.
If it's seasoned well, I won't need any sauce.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so, and this one is hard for me. It depends on how the meat is seasoned. If it's
Agreed.
not seasoned well, put the sauce on there. I'm gonna need the sauce to kind of lift it up.
Yes,
But
yes.
if the dry rub is nice and good and I don't need sauce, I'm good. So it's either or for me, honestly. It just has to.
Okay.
It depends on the
It's
seasoning.
seasoning. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna agree with you on that. Last one: cornbread or Texas toast.
Ooh, because both are good with barbecue. I'm gonna have to go cornbread, man.
Agreed.
Cornbread.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I don't have anything against Texas toast. I just don't really look for it like that.
Yeah, because you can go to Raising Cane's and get some Texas toast.
So funny you said. I just went there with my son yesterday for dinner. I was like asking him where he wanted to go. He's like, Cane's, because right now it's far from where he lives, so he doesn't get to go a lot. Yeah.
Oh.
So he was just there. And, he actually doubles up on the toast because he don't like coleslaw. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's great. But cornbread, a good cornbread. See, but
Yeah.
okay, here's a bonus. Here's a bonus for you.
Mhm.
Sweet cornbread or savory cornbread.
Oh, so I grew up on the Jiffy Mix
So
cornbread,
that's the
but
still.
as I got older, I started
Mhm.
liking more of the savory cornbread. So
Okay.
not as sweet, a little bit of sweetness. Because if it's too sweet for me, it's like almost like eating a dessert.
Okay,
In
fair.
a way,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
like,
That's
you know what
true.
I'm saying? So like, I
Mhm.
like a little hint of sweetness, and if I want it sweeter, I like it to the point if I could add honey on it, and
Yes,
then I'll
agree.
eat it
Okay.
like that. So I want it. I want it a hint of sweetness. So I have the cornmeal here, and I usually make buttermilk corn muffins myself.
Just gonna ask you, so you don't use the Jiffy Mix anymore?
Not anymore. I do it myself.
You do it yourself. What does that mean? You just like cornmeal?
Yeah, they had the fine cornmeal
Sure.
that you
Yeah.
can make, and you
You
buttermilk
can can bake that.
Yep, and it makes
Very
banging
interesting.
corn muffins, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. We might have to do like a cooking show or something, right? 'Cause we
Yeah,
got
man.
everybody hungry.
Yeah.
Hi, Joel. I mean,
Payroll-
again, go ahead, again.
Payroll pallets of payroll.
Payroll pallets, or just A cooking show.
Payroll
Just
Palace and cooking
leave
show.
payroll alone for a second.
Doughboys.
Doughboys. Me and Walt, or is it Walt and I, whatever, I'm not good at grammar. Years ago, we're looking at this pizza spot we were going to buy together. And we should have done it, man. Like, we should have just, oh my
that-
God, we're so scared, right? And it was fear. It was just scared.
We were going to lunch one day and we saw that building. Remember?
It was a pizza. It was a restaurant with a pizza oven for sale. We went in and everything. We ate there and everything. Like, we were like, oh my God, this is it. And we would have called it Doughboys. And I just got scared. I forget how we talked ourselves out of it, but
yeah, bro.
Anywho, just to reiterate what Will said earlier, it is important to, if there's any addiction or stress in your life, that, you know, try to, it's got to start with you. You know, don't let, it can't be, if somebody helps me, because people want to help you. But if you have an addiction, or if you're stressed out and you're caught in depression or anything like that, you have to be the change. You have to start that change, and then people will help you, because you're not going to, you know, it's just not going to stick if you're just, a lot of addicts will say, I'm going to do this for my spouse. I'm going to do this for my kids. No, you have to do it for yourself. And, you know, I'll share a little bit of personal. My father died of drug and alcohol addiction, and it was something horrible to see when I was 14, and he just wasn't strong enough. It should have had a hold of him. You know what I mean? And it's that's you. You got kids, you got a family. Your people don't want to see you go because of this. You know, so or lose everything. And gamblers too. Gamblers end up killing themselves because they're so deep and they can't get themselves out of debt, and there's money missing, and this thing, they're like, wait,
or you get involved with the wrong people.
Make a bet with the wrong people. I've seen enough mob movies. I know how that goes. The first episode of Sopranos, right? I was just watching it the other day, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's like they beat a gambler, broke his damn legs.
Yep.
Tony was like, don't kill him. He's got to pay us back. So anywho, you know, please go seek help. And the true payroll crimes are fun to do, but unfortunately people suffered, people didn't get paid, people were stolen from in these cases, and we don't take that lightly. It is an interesting genre to cover for us, but please, you know, this is serious things that folks are getting impacted with, and we're not trying to joke on that. But
stay tuned for the next Payroll Sopranos episode. Starring
that's a good one.
Brian Esco.
That's a good
Escobar.
one. Yes, that's good. What would be your mob name?
Billy the Kid.
Billy, that's a good one. I like that. Billy the Kid, that's a good one. Yeah. All right, folks, please share, like, subscribe, tell a friend, hit the links, hit the share buttons, all the things. And keep coming back, y'all. I'm going to have Troy Marcuston on the show soon. I just booked him, and have him back. Really, he's going to come on again. Got a couple of interesting guests lined up for the near future, so stay tuned. A lot of good things always happening in the payroll, especially nowadays. And we'll come back. We love y'all. Peace.